Hey everyone, I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. Welcome to Open BXRX. We got a whole lot in store for you. Coming up on today's show, we'll learn about an upcoming conference that is helping Black business grow. And then, well, we'll get a check-in with the photographer to the stars. You know who he is. We'll explain. He gives us a behind-the-scenes look at a can't-miss upcoming production. After that, we'll sit down with the multi-talented Dynamo from Africa, who will speak about her various business ventures and so much more. Then Bobby C, of course, he's here with the latest in the world of sports. And then finally, we'll speak to a mother, a president and CEO of an organization that is raising awareness on a medical condition impacting so many in our community and beyond. All of this and a whole lot more, all coming your way. We're going to give it to you like we owe you something right here on Open. Hey everyone, how are you? I'm the Doc Bob Lee. I'm your host, and you're watching Open. It's that live interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. Now, you can stay connected to us through social media at BronxNet TV. Got a whole lot in store for you. But leading things off, our first guest is a reverend and host of the Black Business Means Business. It's a reSURGEnce Conference 2023. He's here with us today to speak about this conference and why it's so important in our Black and brown businesses, churches, and nonprofits. Please welcome to the show, the Reverend Dennis Dillion. Rev, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Bob Lee. My pleasure being with you, sir. It's good to be on Open, and it is certainly good to see you, sir, and I salute you for the great work you continue to do.
And you too. The last time I saw you, we were doing our Harlem Week together.
That is correct.
We're always meeting in our community. I always see you out in the community with your sleeves rolled up, working on something. What are we working on this time around?
Well, I tell you, we're excited about the reSURGEnce 2023 conference. It comes up in November 17th and 18th in 2022. And it's interesting, Bob, because the whole concept behind this being reSURGEnce 2023 is we really don't want this to sound like an event or feel like an event. It really needs to be a movement towards a new economic renaissance. And we're talking about a Black economic renaissance. Yeah. So we're certainly committed to this.
Yeah. And so we need about a year to put it all together, right? To get everybody moving together in the same direction for that common cause. Oh, how did you come up with the idea, Rev?
Well, I tell you, the concept of reSURGEnce is an interesting one because we've looked at where Black businesses have slipped to resulting from the pandemic. And certainly when we go back and we look at the historic, disadvantages that Black businesses and the Black community have endured, the fact that we don't have the same access to capital, we don't have the same access to franchising opportunities, dealership opportunities. We have to work so much harder and fight so much more to get the opportunities that others are getting. We want to create a reSURGEnce movement. We want to, at the end of the day, as the government from the White House all the way up to the State House and City Hall are saying, let's bring back businesses. Our focus is let's bring back Black businesses and bring them back better. It is sad when I look at Crain's New York Business Report the other day to find that there's 0 Black businesses listed among what is supposed to be the 25 top minority-owned firm in New York City. 15 years ago, there was 11 Black businesses on that list.
Now there's none.
No, there's none.
What will this conference look like? You know, people attending the conference, what should they expect?
Very key, and I appreciate the question because it's such an important one. There are 8 doors of access that is limited. That's a theme of this conference. Access to funding and capital. We will have over 15 lenders that will be there. So everybody who's looking for money, if you're just going into business, if you've been in business for 2 years, if you've been in business for 20 years, there are lenders that we're going to match you up with. There'll be micro lenders, there'll be macro lenders, there'll be the big banks like Chase, like TD Bank, and there'll be small lenders that will lend small monies. Even there, we're also doing a special program through this, Dr. Bob Lee, that is called character loans, so that even if you don't have the credit worthiness, recommendations from your clergyman or your elected leaders can actually give you a loan. So that's just one of the doors to access to new markets, emerging markets, access to government and corporate contracts. Again, over 15 government agencies will be there talking about how you do business with them. So I don't want to go through the entire list of 8, but we're excited about these 8 doors of access that will certainly provide opportunities to our communities.
Opportunities unlimited.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So where can Black and brown businesses or Black and brown business people go to sign up and join into this conference?
They can go to the website. That's probably the best place to go. reSURGEnce2022.com is where they can go register. They can sign up. We do have just a little bit of room left for businesses who may want to come showcase their products, link with other business to business networking. So it's going to be that kind of a room that we're providing. We're excited. Actor Malik Yoba is going to be with us at the conference. One of the areas that we're heavily focused on is the affordable housing development, and I stress development because again, we're encouraging more Blacks to get into the business of developing affordable housing, as well as developing commercial real estate, developing market rate housing, because at the end of the day, everybody's developing. Others are coming from all over the world, developing in our neighborhoods. And so this is really about challenging and charging our communities to let's get out there and let's really begin to take our fair share of opportunities, particularly opportunities that are being made available now.
Yeah, I love the way that you're putting things together. I've worked with you so many times in the past with the New York and Christian Times in Brooklyn, and you put that together years ago, and it's still functioning today, right? Yeah. Talking about all the wonderful things happening in our community.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just grateful. It's been 30-something years, Bob, since we've been doing the Christian Times, and I'm laughing because I remember when we released the first edition, June 1990. And to my surprise, I was a young kid coming out of college, coming into Brooklyn from a little suburban town called Englewood, New Jersey. Yeah. And a Daily News reporter came by to interview me when the paper came out and wrote this story in the Daily News. I can't forget reporter, the religion editor back then, Bill Bell. And Bill Bell wrote that this is like a David against Goliath matchup. and he gave the Christian Times a couple of years to survive. He said, you guys probably will last a couple of years. And of course, he was looking at statistics from the perspective of the mortality of a new business, particularly in print media. And the Christian Times been around for 30-something years. At one point, we were literally an insert in the New York Daily News in their Sunday edition. So, we're just grateful to God for the blessings and the growth over the years.
God is good. Where can we go to find out?
Absolutely.
everything that you're doing, and especially about this wonderful conference in 2023.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, nychristiantimes.com is always a source for information and resource. So we encourage folks that they could go there for information, and very, very truly, very directly, very specifically, we encourage again everyone, reSURGEnce2022.com for information about this reSURGEnce conference. Everybody should come. Clergy leaders, not-for-profit organizers, developers, and certainly if you're in business or plan to be in business or want to be an investor, you definitely should be there. We're also, by the way, linking, as I've taken Black business leaders to the continent of Africa, we're bringing some African business leaders and investors with big monies to invest. We're failing to recognize the amount of monies that even African business people and individuals have to invest. So it is that kind of matchup, Dr. Bobley, that's taking place, and we're excited about it.
Reverend, thank you so much. Of course, you're the pastor of Rise Church. Is it in Brooklyn? Or
it is Rise Church, New York in Brooklyn. Yes, downtown Brooklyn.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rev.
Bless you, man. And you keep up the good work, Dr. Bobley. Good to see you, man.
Nice to see you too. Reverend Dillion, yes, Dennis Dillion. We appreciate you. We'll see you very, very soon. All right, we'll take a quick break. You got it. All right, we'll take a quick break right here. I've got more open coming your way next.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at BronxNet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Bob Lee, and our next guest is a photographer to the stars, and he's here to speak about his latest film production that he's involved in, titled The Cab Calloway Story. So please welcome to the show my man, Ronnie Wright. Ronnie, welcome.
Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
Good. So you've always been working on these projects from like way back up until now.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Before we start talking about the Cab Calloway project, talk about how you got involved with taking pictures with the stars or to the stars or for the stars.
Well, with a photography thing, evaluated from, my high school days. So coming up to date, I was in New York, just doing some things, and, a lot of things started happening, like fashion shows and stuff. And, my friends knew I was shooting a little bit, so they was calling me to do this and that. Then I started shooting for the record labels, to sum everything up. And, me being a musician myself, I knew a lot of entertainers, so I would go shoot the shows if I wasn't singing or doing anything. And one thing led to another, and then I started working for Sony, Warner Brothers, and Polygram, and Motown, and shooting their acts, whether it be the album covers or the concerts or the promotions and stuff like that. So, just sum it all up. Here it is 45 years later, and I'm still doing it.
Yeah. And I'm gonna throw something at you, and I know you're gonna be able to catch it. How do you mix in your talent with your hands? How does it correspond, or how does it correlate with how you use photography?
Well, mixing business with pleasure and having relationships with different people, and it's like a word of mouth. I never had an agent or anybody doing that and getting my work for me. I've always got my own work, so it was just a blessing from the Lord, man. And I just ran with it,
Yeah, I mean, you have a discipline, don't you know? Karate or jujitsu or?
Yeah, I'm a martial artist, yes, and I've been a martial artist since I was like 16. And today I'm 64, so I do know a couple of things.
Yeah. So how does that help you with your photography work? The discipline.
Well, it gives me patience and virtue. I mean, I'm patient with it. I know a lot of things take time, especially when we're doing photography. You have to wait for this and that, to assemble everybody together or whatever the case may be. And, just all that discipline I learned over the years, I just apply it to my daily routine, what I do. And, I'm just blessed and I'm thankful.
And who are some of the stars that you've worked with over the years, and what stands out in your mind?
Let's see. You know, I want to talk about the people that's not here, like Michael Jackson, Barry White, Lena Horne, all the greats, James Brown. You know, just being around that eclectic of people just inspired me to do more. You know, I work with the Mary Jays and the Mariah Careys and the Janet Jacksons, but it's the people of yesteryear that really turns me on. That I feel, you know, compelled to do that work with them, and it was just a blessing to do that when I did it.
Yeah, and I see you out in the community all the time. You take pictures. I know you got a lot of stuff. I'm going to see if you can dig up a lot of the stuff that you have of me with some of the stars.
Oh, I do.
You're in a lot of those pictures.
You got a folder.
Yeah.
I do have a folder on you.
Yeah, yeah. So,
yeah.
So now Cab Calloway, talk about that project right there.
Okay, my friend Kiss, he goes by the name of Kiss. He's an artist, singer, and actor. He got involved with the Cab Calloway family, the daughters, and they gave him the blessing to do this. So this is a little synopsis on Calloway behind the scenes that people didn't see before the Cotton Club. So he just got a bunch of us together and said, I wanted to do this production. So we went in there with nothing, but we studied a little bit, and we went in there and did what we did, and we made it happen. So we got 3 episodes down, and he's shopping a deal. So this week, coming Thursday, he's going to have a little movie, you know, a little trailer that he wants everybody to come out and see. And you know, we just hope the best. He might get picked up by Netflix or whoever. So I'm just like, you know, I got involved with it, and the character I play Louis Armstrong, light-skinned version of Louis Armstrong. Albie Shore plays Duke Ellington, and Kiss, he plays Cab Calloway. And we have full forces in there, and they play the Harlem Knights, you know, the gangsters that was shaking down Cab Calloway back in the day when he was doing the clubs up in Harlem. Yeah, so I think it's gonna be pretty nice. So the trailer's gonna be nice. So I hope you guys come out, you and Steven, on Thursday. Don't ask me where it is because I forgot. I know it's it's at the Quad Theater on West 13th Street. I don't know the exact address. But,
that's right. You'll send it. We'll get it and we'll post it up.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's a one-time showing. Where else can we see it? Is it going to be running after that?
Well, that's it so far. I mean, it's just like three segments that he put together as a little small trailer, and it's 8 more episodes that he want to shoot. So if we can get some funding and some people to come in and help that situation, you know, who knows?
Yeah.
You might
I had a little deal with
yourself.
All right. I'm an actor, but I had a little deal with the Cab.
Hold me to that. I'll make sure you're in there.
Okay, you got it.
Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton even he's in it.
He's in it
in the group Allure. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Allure plays 3 sisters that sang in the 1940s. I forgot the name of the girls, but you know, got a lot of people in there.
That's good. That's good. So it's not a wrap yet. It's just a.
No. This is just a teaser, and who knows who may come and see that and may want to pick it up. You might have Hulu there. You might have Netflix or HBO. One never knows. Do one.
Yeah, the Cab Calloway story.
Yeah.
Beautiful. What else are you working on?
I just got back from Atlanta. I went down to Keith Sweat's. We had a party for Teddy Riley last week, his 56th birthday, and that was like a blast. I stayed at Keith's house, man. I didn't want to come back home. He has everything right there. The Rolls Royces, the Mercedes, the Bentleys, everything is right there. He has a lake. He has a swimming pool, and my room was in my bedroom where I stayed. You could put like 4 cars in there, 4 or 5 cars.
Wow.
It was just like, you know, and Keith and I grew up together, and I toured with him. So what he wants to do, he got all of us back together because he wants to bring the original cats that worked with him during the New Jack Swing era. He wanted us all to come back together, so we did. And now we in the talk for his next tour, which is going to be him, Guy, and one other group.
Yeah, Belle Biv DeVoe.
That's it. You're right.
Thank you for all the work that you do. Tell Keith I said hello. Keith, of course.
I'll talk to him later on today. I will.
Out to Atlanta. Yeah. All right. And
Okay.
you know,
Yeah, man, I thank you guys for keeping me in tune, man, and I'll keep y'all abreast. But I'll see you guys Thursday. I love you both, man. I thank y'all. And let's keep doing what we do, man.
You got it. And I'll see you December 1st at the Make the Great Awards.
I will be there. It's on my calendar.
Right. You got it.
See
All
you.
right. Thanks a lot, man. My man, Ronnie Wright, photographer to the stars. Thank you. Thank you. Photographer to the stars. He does his thing. You can see him out all over the places in the community. He's everywhere. Got his sleeves rolled up, taking pictures. I remember when he was doing the 35 millimeter stuff. Ronnie, what's your website?
I'm just on Instagram. I'm on Ronnie Wright 1 on Instagram. And on Facebook, it's Ronnie Wright. And on TikTok, it's Ronnie Wright 62.
All right. Thank you, my brother. We'll see you soon, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll take a break right here. I've got more open. It's all coming your way next.
TV news, radio reports, and newspaper headlines in the 1970s and 80s misrepresented communities in the borough of the Bronx. Then, something transformative happened. By, for, and about the Bronx, BronxNet was born.
We are BronxNet! BronxNet provides media education,
opening the doors to competitive careers in the media industry
for thousands of students in middle school,
high school,
and college.
BronxNet.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm the Doc Bob Lee from BLS. You are watching Open. Our next guest is a multi-talented woman whose accomplishments span across multi-disciplines. She carries more than 25 years of petroleum engineering experience. Now, she is the host and executive director of the Greatness Engineering Hour, and she sits down with us today to speak about her show and all of the wonderful work that she's doing to uplift others in her wonderful industry. So please welcome to the show, Mireille Toulekima. Mireille, welcome.
Thank you, Bob. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. We heard about all the wonderful work that you're doing in our community to uplift others and all of these businesses. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, it's quite amazing to be able to to talk to the audience in the US. As you mentioned, my name is Mireille Toulekima, and I'm actually originally from a country called Gabon in West Africa, but I'm based in Perth in Australia. So it has been a long way. So I've worked, in the oil and gas industry. That's the first industry that I've, been in for more than 25 years now. And it has, helped me to travel the world and end up here in Australia. So really a great journey. And, as I was progressing in the oil and gas industry, obviously, when I started, I was the only woman, almost the only woman of color back then. So it was a challenge, but I managed to use that, to my advantage and to really, sell through, and now really giving back and trying to empower, more women who look like me, but also empower anybody who feel like they are, a minority in any part of, in any part of the world and in any business. And that's really what, the show is all about. Is, the show that I've created 3 years ago is all about, bringing people who are, who don't have a platform or a voice to come and explain, their great, to show their greatness, to step into their greatness, and to share, their challenges and the opportunities and how they managed to become successful, even when it was really difficult. So that's been really the flow in everything that I've done. And so far, going into the oil and gas industry was not something that I've actually planned. My dad was an engineer, so I basically follow, the full step of my dad, but never actually imagined that I was looking at more doing research, not really getting into, engineering and even in petroleum. Didn't know anything about petroleum. But when my dad passed away, I basically had to stop. I was finishing my bachelor, really wanted to continue, but I had to get into the market.
So yeah, you were doing a lot of research, but when Dad passed away, you said, you know what? Let me find out more about what Dad was into. So you do have a storied career in petroleum engineering. And what made you want to get into helping others realize their dreams?
Yeah, I think the first thing was when you know I got into the industry, I was feeling really powerless because I was challenged. You know, back then, you know, I was entering an industry that I didn't really know, and everything was done in English. And back then, I was not, you know, I was not very fluent in English. So, which meant that people were actually interpreting the fact that I couldn't speak English, that, you know, I was not good. So I had to battle through that and really, you know, find my way. And so going through all those hurdles and being challenged and, you know, being all the time asked to come, you know, and bring your best, I decided that I didn't want anybody to go through that. I really want to share my story. I really want to share whatever I went through and help, you know, where I can, so that, you know, the next generation could actually have it easier than I had it. So that was really what pushed me. And obviously coming also from a country where, you know, Gabon has 1.8 million people, and back then it was only 1 million. So it was also a way for me to help, you know, a lot of the youth to really understand that if I can do it, especially women, they could do it. So for me, it's about, you know, if you can see it, you can be it. And that's really what drives me all along to really share my story, to create platforms where people can be themselves and express themselves, because we all have something to share.
Yeah. What's the dialect in the country that you're from?
Oh, the dialect, we speak French, but they are we speak French, and there are 40 dialects. So so French is the language that we use in Gabon. Yes.
Yeah. Good. So this wonderful show that you have, you're into that.
Yeah. So the wonderful show started this adventure 3 years ago. Really out of nothing. I actually wanted to do just one episode where I was going to bring people with, you know, who could share their stories and share, you know, tools and processes that they've used to be able to be successful. So I did one edition, and I realized that, you know, it was a lot of people actually really liked it. So there was a demand, and there was an audience. So I started to really, you know, do more research and come across, find people that, you know, I could bring on the show so that they could inspire, you know, the people that the people that were watching. And the audience is mostly small businesses, sole business owners, coaches, and also a lot of people who are in philanthropy. And most of them, I mean, they're located globally, and I could see that they needed, you know, this thing. And the name came really because people are like, okay, is it a show about for engineers? I said, no, it's not a show for engineer as you see engineers. Is the show for engineer because we all are engineers in our life. We engineer something, we engineer our lives, we engineer anything. So engineering is not just for, you know, the technical people who go and do, you know, a degree in engineering. We are all engineer, and that's why I call the show the Greatness Engineering Show. So that's been really a great thing for me.
And then you're a writer also. You're an author of 3 books. Tell us more about that.
Oh, yes. So I wrote 3 books. So I started to write more in you know, focusing on the petroleum industry. And I started, it was just to give a boost to my career, because at some point I really started to stagnate. And so I went to one of the conference and heard one of the speakers talking about, the book could brand you and help you to get noticed in your industry. So that's what I did. And then, so the first book was really about the industry. And then I branched out to self-development. So Stepping into Your Greatness was my second book. Yeah. And that's actually what, direct everything that I do in leadership and self-development. And the show was, basically came out of this, and everything else that I'm doing. I have a coaching program as well that I call the Greatness Engineering method that I've developed. And it's all come from this book. And in this book, it's a very short version. I've put the 12 rules that I think have worked for me to be able to become the person that I am. So those 12 rules are described in my book. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that your best book?
I think it's my best book because it's based on what I went through and what I've learned through, my, not only my professional experience, but also my personal experience. And I think that's something, when I look at it, that's something that I went through without knowing, but it's actually a process that I think people can follow to become successful at what they really want to do. And so that's why I said I need to write it down and I need to record it somewhere so that I can pass on, this knowledge and this process to different people and different generation.
We thank you for all you do. Is all the other books on, that third book, all of the books are on your website, right?
Yes, all the books are on my website and they're available as well on Amazon. So if you just by, typing my name, it's quite a unique name. You'll have everything, all the books coming out. So not a problem.
Is it on the website? What's the
So the website is www.mireilletulekima.com. So that's the website. And there's another website, which is more the work that I do on the Greatness Engineering method, which is www.thegreatnessengineer.com.
And we'll be sure to post it up right under you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mireille.
That was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yes, okay. And you're always welcome to come back, okay? You're a friend of the show.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Mireille Toulekima. Yeah, she's the host and executive director of the Greatness Engineering Hour. We appreciate you. Once again, thank you. Coming up next, Bobby C. You don't want to miss it. He has the latest in the world of sports coming up next.
Morning, sports fans. Back at it here again in the Sports Corner. I've got a very special guest with us this morning, joined now by New York Post sports writer, 90.7 FM beat reporter Colin Loughran. Colin, how's it going?
Bobby, thank you so much for having me today. It's great to be with you. Really just a hallmark time in New York sports. So much going on. The football teams are actually good for the first time in ages. Yankees in the ALCS, Rangers and Isles back in action. Knicks and Nets too. It's like Christmas here in New York. Everything going on all at once. You gotta love it.
Been a great fall for these teams, and hopefully it continues. And big part of the reason why I wanted to have you on the show, you're doing so many great things. Wanted to talk some New York sports with you here in the Sports Corner. And I wanted to start with the New York Rangers because I actually think the Rangers might be better this year so far, at least on paper, prospects, than they were last year. And that says a lot because the Broadway Blue Shirts were so good. Wanted to get your thoughts on the New York Rangers and their outlook for this season.
Well, I don't know if I'd go so far as to say they are definitely better this year. I think the addition of Vincent Trocheck to that second line does something in terms of the overall talent that's there. But let's be honest, last year was a surprise. Nobody saw the Rangers doing what they were able to do last year. If you were to ask any Rangers fan worth his, her, or their salt in October if they were going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals, they would have laughed in your face. If you were to ask the same question and then said, are they going to beat the Lightning twice in said series, they would have laughed even harder. So last year was a great surprise for Rangers fans. Obviously, the kids played extraordinarily well down the stretch. Alexis Lafreniere, Kakko, guys of this sort. But what ended up happening was that team was defined in one sense or another by some of the additions they made before the trade deadline. Frank Vetrano, Andrew Kopp, very undervalued targets that ended up being major sources of scoring for the Rangers. This year, those guys are not there. You basically sacrifice the ability to pay those gentlemen by going after a guy like Vincent Trocheck and giving him the fat contract that you did. So I think the Rangers are better from a talent perspective in that you have Trocheck now with Panarin on that second line. You have two lines that are fairly stable, although the right wing on that top line is with a lot of push and pull between Barclay Goodrow and Lafreniere, who will ultimately end up playing with Kreider and Zibanejad. But when you look at the team as a cohesive unit, it's questionable as to whether or not they're going to end up having a better result than they did last year.
NBA season, of course, opening up. Wanted to talk a little bit about the Nets and the Knicks. We'll start with the Knickerbockers, the orange and blue. What is best case scenario for the Knicks this year? And am I going to have another heartbroken year at the Garden?
Well, Bobby, I'm not a complete pessimist. Whereas the Rangers overachieved last year, the Knicks underachieved last year after their initial overachievement 2 years ago. So I think for the Knicks, there's a lot of room for growth, but the addition of Jalen Brunson helps this team without question. They've been without a point guard for what feels like the longest time. Derrick Rose injured last year. Even when he was healthy, he could only play in short spurts. He's not the type of guy that's going to play 40-plus minutes. He's not the type of guy you want to play 40-plus minutes at this given moment in his career. Jalen Brunson gives you 4.8 assists per game last year over in Dallas. He comes over and brings that type of playmaking to New York. The Knicks will be much better than they were last year. They were 30th in assists in the NBA last season. You can't win that way, especially when you don't have one guy like a Giannis or a Durant that can carry the offensive load. Knicks fans very high on RJ Barrett, but at this moment in time, he still needs a point guard to feed him the ball, get him those open looks. I think Jalen Brunson, with a little bit of Derrick Rose sprinkled in, can be that guy. The Knicks could make a play and run. That is a very realistic expectation for this bunch. I don't see them escaping the 9 to 10 range. If they finish 6 or 7, that would be a massive success for this unit. The most realistic outcome is for them to be 9, 10, potentially 8th in the Eastern Conference.
What about the Brooklyn Nets? Will this finally be the year that Brooklyn breaks through and wins the championship, which I think most fans, if you're a Brooklyn fan, you would have thought by now they would have at least have played in the finals with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving.
Well, if you're a New York Knicks fan or a Brooklyn Nets fan, chances are you have the patience of a saint by now. So the Nets on paper are way more talented than they were last year if everybody stays healthy. Ben Simmons is now there for a full season. Kyrie Irving can play every game if he so chooses to do so now that the vaccine issue is behind him. And you added TJ Warren, who's hurt at the moment. You also have a full season of Seth Curry, who's hurt at the moment. And Joe Harris should be back, but he is hurt at the moment. On paper, if this Nets team is healthy and at least able to go in some sense, they should be able to make a deep run into the playoffs. They can legitimately contend for a title. It's not a ridiculous statement to say that they could beat the Milwaukee Bucks or the Boston Celtics in a potential playoff series. They had the fourth best field goal percentage in the entire NBA last season. You're adding guys that can flat out shoot to that roster. Royce O'Neal is an under the radar addition as well because he's going to help you on defense. Now, as far as Ben Simmons is concerned, you don't bring him in hoping he can score you 20 points a game. No, you're just hoping he can facilitate, get some open looks for Irving and Durant, maybe find Nick Claxton in the post for a cheap bucket here or there. Overall, Ben Simmons just has to facilitate and play some defense. If they can get that, they're already a step ahead of where they were last year because Boston exploited the idea that Brooklyn played isolation basketball. And then on the other side of things, they couldn't defend to save their life. They're already better on defense by the virtue of Ben Simmons just being present in general. And with him as a facilitator, they should be a little bit more diverse offensively if Durant and Irving are willing to play that brand of basketball.
So do you see the Nets actually getting a step further? And does it happen with these guys in the fold, or eventually does this all get broken up? I mean, do we see Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving move on?
I see KD and Kyrie making an Eastern Conference Finals bid this year. I think it will come down to either the Brooklyn Nets or the Boston Celtics challenging the Milwaukee Bucks. In a best-of-7 series, I might be inclined to say whoever has home court wins that series. I think Milwaukee is the class of the East. Boston's really deep, but they don't have Giannis Antetokounmpo. Brooklyn has KD, who nearly outdueled Giannis himself in 2021. I mean, let's be honest, if Kevin Durant had a little bit smaller of a shoe size, we might be talking about Brooklyn already having a championship under their belt with James Harden.
Well, speaking of coming and going, the $64 million question here in the Bronx is whether or not Aaron Judge will be in pinstripes by next season. Do you see Aaron Judge as a forever Yankee, or will he be somewhere else, let's say like the San Francisco Giants, and perhaps heading home to California?
Well, Bobby, I wrote an article not long ago about how if Judge breaks the Maris record, which he did, for single-season home runs, it would be a slap in the face to Yankees fans if he was not signed long-term and to play his entire career as a Yankee. There's no other franchise in sports, not the Cowboys, not the Steelers, not the Patriots, not the Lakers, that sells their fans on pride and what it means to be a part of that specific team. To me, the fact that Judge breaks this record signifies that the Yankees front office will have to make amends with him and offer him basically a blank check. I think he will stay in New York, given he broke that record. To me, that was more important than the Triple Crown or the MVP or even a World Series at this time. Once it became obvious he was going to break that record, that's all you need to know. The team could flail out from here against Houston or not win a title, but Aaron Judge can't be blamed. I don't think you could say that the team is underachieving because of Aaron Judge. If anything, they've overachieved because of Aaron Judge. There were stretches where he was carrying that offense, and him breaking the home run record kind of encapsulates that idea. So for a franchise that tries to sell its fans on the idea of pinstripe pride and all this, it'd be a real slap in the face not to sign this man long term.
And now the most home runs too in deciding games in baseball history. Pretty cool for Aaron Judge. Well, Colin, before we let you go, where can people find you? I love the articles that you're writing with the Post, doing some Yankee stuff too. And of course, people can hear you on the air at 90.7. Tell us more.
You can hear me with WFUV. Check out our YouTube page. I'll be covering the New York Knicks this season, some special reports, some post-game reports there. Also, as you mentioned, Bobby, on the New York Post's website, you can find articles that I've written, some reporting. And then also on Fanside, it's Dodgers Way and Yanks Go Yard sites. I've written a variety of articles about the Yankees and Dodgers, their seasons, their history. The Yankees article coming soon about why it's so important to embrace this playoff run, especially 10 years since the last run of the Core Four in 2012. I'm all over the place these days. Be sure to check out some of what I've been able to do.
Well, even if the teams don't win the championships, Colin, I'm happy that you gave me Aaron Judge at least this morning. Thanks for taking time with us here in the Sports Corner.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back, everybody. Our next guest is the president and CEO of Autism Project FLOS Incorporated, which stands for, of course, for the love of Shaquon Incorporated. She's with us today to share her experience a mother has with her child that has autism and to raise awareness on those afflicted with autism through her organization. Please welcome to the show, DaQueen Monroe. DaQueen, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me this morning. How are you doing today?
All right. You know, while I was doing that intro, something got in my eye and I was blinking. I didn't want to stop because I wanted to get right into what you're doing and all the things that you had to go through to make what you are doing happen in our society, in our community. Talk about it.
Well, we were incorporated in 2012, and the reason behind me starting this organization was experiences I had with my son, him going through his milestones, meeting them, not meeting them, services that were not available, things I didn't know as a parent that, you know, affected my son's support. So he came into this world, beautiful, young boy, perfect in every way. He even developed for a time perfectly fine. And then if you know anything about autism, at about from birth to about 4, they're saying now, symptoms start to show themselves. So my son was more typical for the first 2.5 years. After that, he started to decline and, you know, lose ability, learned ability. He regressed. So he once had speech, now he's nonverbal. Today he's 31, still nonverbal. So during that time, you know, being a young mother, first time, first child, only child, by the way, when you are a parent and you have kids, you're more seasoned, or you're a clinician, a healthcare clinician, you know what to look for, certain milestones that they should meet. I didn't have a clue. So when he started, you know, regressing or declining, and I noticed he wasn't doing the things that typical kids do, I didn't know to go get him evaluated. I didn't know to take him to this clinician or this professional to find out, you know, what's actually wrong, what can we do to help, get this evaluation, get these therapies, things like that. Those things I did not know. So he fell through the cracks for a bit. But once he did get evaluated, he was still misdiagnosed. It was a lot going on. This is the early 90s, so things are different then as opposed to now. The whole autism awareness is more heightened. Then autism wasn't known as much. So we went through a lot together. It was a real learning experience. I wanted to help other families. Say that again.
And you also found that there was a lacking in services when you really got into it, right? The inclusion, the innovation, the availability, the accessibility, affordability, acceptance, empathy that you mentioned, and the real understanding about the kids on the spectrum.
Exactly. It's a lot. Children need the support. Individuals with a disability need the support, but family units also need the support. If you have a child with a disability, it affects the whole family dynamic. So being a parent unaware, not knowing what services my son should be getting, that affected the whole family unit. You know, families get divorced. You might have a, marriage, have a child, and your child's having a lot of complications that put a strain on the marriage, you divorce. I mean, there's a lot of things that's going on. But as far as having the support that my son needed and I needed in the urban community setting, that's the most important. So if you're affluent and you have money to throw at the problem, it's a little bit easier. It's not easy, but it's a little bit easier. If you are in the urban setting in a metropolitan area where clinical services like these types may not be offered, you have to go 30, 40 minutes away. If you're not driving a car, that affects services. You know what I'm saying? If you can't afford or don't want to get on a bus with your child, showing certain behaviors or things like that, that's another issue. It's a lot that goes into it. So having services and support in the community is very important for our children, our youth, and young adults and adults, because this is a lifelong disability. It doesn't stop.
And then you said, wait, let me roll up my sleeves. Let me get involved in this. And you started your own project. Talk about the project that that you've started, and some of the things that you're doing to create the awareness and help things out, help make things better?
Well, yeah. So because of the experience I went through with my son, I just wanted to do something. So in 2013, 2013, we had our first like fun day for special needs youth, right? That was the first thing we did. So now today in 22, very important to know how to advocate. It's important that parents know their rights. It's important that they know school policy. So when you come up against a problem with your child in class, in the classroom setting in education, because it will happen, you want to be able to be armed with the knowledge of how to advocate for them.
Yeah.
That's one. We hold a lot of recreational, fun, social time for our youth that are affected with autism and other disabilities, cognitive challenges that they may have. So they can get out into the world, acclimate themselves, learn how to properly exchange some type of social interactions. A lot of our kids are in the house, they're sheltered, they don't get out for a variety of reasons. So we hold workshops and we have education. We offer recreational fun. We're having an inclusive Halloween experience later on this month for Halloween. We're having a fashion show in December. We do a lot. Father's Day, Mother's Day, we don't leave our family members out. Disabilities like this type that your child may have really isolates the family or isolates the parent. You don't really want to go around other people a lot of times. It could be a lot. So our non-for-profit tries to bring families in and give their child some type of inclusive experience that they're not left out. Because a lot of stuff you miss out on when you're disabled.
Did you put Shaquon to work? Shaquon's helping you out?
I'll put him to work as much as I possibly can. That doesn't mean he always complies, but yeah.
Yeah. I keep him involved as much as you can. Yeah.
As much as you can. As much as he's
God
able
is
to be.
Good. Yeah, God is good. He helped put you through a lot of the educational part of it so that you can help other people navigate their way too. So I think that's good in that way. And I know you're working.
It's really my joy. Like I really love to do this. I really love reaching out to families and letting them know. I know firsthand, because I'm a parent myself, how it can feel, how you may feel, how it can be. And just, us coming together and giving them, a pat on the back and giving them some esteem about what they're going through and, offering some things that their child can be a part of is very important. Because the kids, when they grow up, they make friends naturally, right? Our kids are naturally social. They make friends. They are on sports teams, dance teams. They're a part of things. A lot of our kids that have social deficits don't know how to do that. So they stay at home.
Yeah.
They just indoors and it's just the parent and the child. And for a lot of our young men, autism affects boys 4 times more, almost 5 times more than girls. It could be really hard on a single parent household if they're single parent. More times, 9 times out of 10, it is a female. It could be very hard. So you want to get them connected to the services and the help that they need.
Yeah. Did you delve into any of the research as to what's causing autism in our youth?
There's a lot of stories in the Windy City. There's a million of them. Some believe it could be the chromosomes, right? Not because the chromosome, the male versus the female.
Yeah.
The male only has one X that could be damaged. It's a lot of different things. Nothing's been proven yet. It's still a work in progress. They're trying to find out is nature and nurture. Autism is part genetic. You come into the world with certain things, right? And then it's how you get the support to kind of help you along. So we have people that's very high functioning with autism and very low functioning. And I think a lot of the times people get confused and they kind of have one concept in their mind what autism is, but it's really across the board. And it's a combination of things. So it's a lot of different doctors doing research. There's a lot of different things, but we don't have nothing concrete as of yet. Some people think it's vaccines. It could be, it's a lot of things.
Yeah, I've heard that one before about the vaccines or,
right.
Inoculations. But it seems like you have a book in you. up? It's like,
well,
you know,
I got a lot to say, especially as our kids go through puberty.
Yeah.
And our young men become men, and our young girls too, and how autism affects girls differently than boys. That's another whole thing. But yeah, it just can be a challenge, and it could really definitely be a strain. And I know families need the support. That's the most important thing. Getting the support going through it helps you a tremendous amount. And then having someone that knows what it's like is another tremendous support.
Put the pen to the paper, girl. Hey, what do you have coming up? Anything coming up that we should get involved in or that we should know about?
Say that last part again.
What do you have coming up? Do you have anything coming up that we should?
Oh, yes. So on the 23rd Sunday, I'm giving away Halloween costumes to some of our families, right? We have one of our supporters, a lodge here in Yonkers, that's going to donate it to us. On the 29th Saturday, we're having our inclusive Halloween experience. It's all for special needs and families only. That's for this month. Next month, I have a program called the 21 Club, which is for the transitioning young adult, 21 years and older, that have very limited services. We do a social night out with them after 5 p.m. That's November. And also we have hip hop sessions and we have fitness classes. So the hip hop sessions is introducing the 4 elements of hip hop through DJing classes, and it's for special needs only. And that is off the chain. Let me tell you something, music is the equalizer. When our kids put on their headphones and they're able to make their own beat, it is so great to see. That's something I definitely can send you in a clip of that, because that is something to see. When they get a chance to be able to manipulate something, no one's telling them what they got to do, they can do it themselves. That's a beautiful thing. So this month is Halloween, next month is fitness, hip hop, and for my 21 and older crowd, a night out. And then in December, we have our fashion show and meet and greet Santa.
Is it all
so
on
it's a
your,
lot.
Is it all on your website?
It will be. The Halloween is, but the rest of the stuff, not yet.
All right. Well, listen, thank you so much for sharing. And you're welcome to come back and share more.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Okay. What is the website, by the way?
The website is the Autism Project Frank Love Octopus Sam. So that's FLOS.org.
There you go. DaQueen Monroe, MBA, President and CEO of the Autism Project, FLOS, for the love of Shaquon Incorporated. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. All right. That's about it for today's show. We appreciate all that have tuned in and checked it out. We appreciate you. Thank you for letting us share in this space and time. And always remember that what you are is God's gift to you. What you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice and let your choice control the choose. And remember, whether you say you can or you can't, either way, you are right. So say you can and you will. For all of us here at BronxNet, have a great and enjoyable day. And I'll see you over 107.5 WVLS. I love you all. Peace.